I'll tell you something, though, about priming people's beliefs. And I'm going to share a study that was done, and I'm going to keep it very general because you can read about this in a really good book called You Are the Placebo by Joe Dispenza. I don't know if anybody's read that book, but it's an excellent book. But he talks about the priming of reading scores in Caucasian kids versus African American kids. And so the study was done where they took a couple different groups, and these students were primed with information that African American children scored lower, right? So this one control group of African American kids was primed with information that said African Americans kids scored lower on their tests. Another group of Caucasian kids was primed with information that said Caucasian kids score better on reading tests. Who do you think scored lower? The group that was primed to believe that that was who they were and that was their destiny, and then they flipped it around. And then they showed that you could do just the opposite. So we're often primed in life with these different beliefs about what we're capable of and who we really are. We call these beliefs. And beliefs over time become our perceptions. And our perceptions over time become our habituated thoughts. And our habituated thoughts are related to our habitual emotions. And those emotions will generally drive our decisions. And our decisions will drive the actions we take, and the actions we take create the life and the world we see. So if you go really far upstream into empowering people at the deepest level, it's to transform their limiting, crappy beliefs about themselves. It's powerful. It's powerful. I can give you one more example that I think is really, really, really amazing. There is a story in our culture that 80% of people will struggle with back pain in their lifetime. It's literally become an epidemic. It has literally become an epidemic. And it's become an epidemic over the last 20 years as orthopedic surgeons, physiotherapists, chiropractors, all created a story that backs are weak and that you have to be constantly careful. There's no evidence whatsoever, in fact, there's amazing evidence to suggest that 1/3 of the people in this room with no back pain have giant protruding discs. Most of you have bulging discs in degeneration. Yet why do people who we study, thousands on MRIs, have no pain? And what actually creates pain? What drives pain? It's a massive confluence of emotion, of thought, of belief, and fear. It's interesting. In Lithuania, there's no litigious system around whiplash in car accidents. And they did this amazing study and found that people who had been in pretty severe car accidents had no evidence of whiplash. But in a country not too far away, Norway, we had a very complex system of time off and disability and pay and reward for being injured, whiplash became staggeringly high. Belief, whether it's your own personal micro-belief or the beliefs that are pounded in and smashed in by the culture, they affect us. That's all I want to say. So when I have you turning to someone and say, hey, I'm a cosmic genius, it's part fun and it's part to change the energy in the room, but it's also part to affirm that you're smarter than you think you are. So when I talk about neurophysiology, you got this. You get it. Just assume you get it. And belief is the one thing that holds people back, right? So when we're stressed, can anybody tell me what the brain does? I know that's a big question. Does anybody know what the brain does? I know at least one of you does. Well, yeah, totally. So cortisol, perfect. That's a good word. What else?
Reptilian.
Okay, good. I love it. We're getting pieces, reptiles and cortisol.
It shuts down your monkey brain.
Monkey brain. Okay, so now we're into the mammalian brain. Oh my God, you guys are good. We're putting it together. We're piecing it together. Amygdala hijack. Okay, perfect. I'll take over from here, folks. Thank you. So your brain is amazing. It has 3 parts. How many parts? 3 main parts. It's extremely complex. And you know what the truth is? We know about 5% of what the brain does. I'm reading this great book on the healing power of water, and this Neil, who's the astrophysicist on TV, the really amazing guy, Neil. Yeah, he said basically we really understand about 5% of what the brain's doing. So as I tell you this, I'm really approximating what 5% we do know. But in 20 years, this could be something way more magical than we ever imagined. So as best as we know, the brain has 3 parts. How many parts? 3 parts. So as the gentleman over there said, it looks like a small cap from an Irishman with a very unusual frontal cortex. But we're going with it. So you have a frontal cortex here. This is the front part of the brain. This is what's so amazing about human beings, because it allows us to reason. It allows us to have empathy. It allows us to have compassion. It allows us to see the big picture. It allows us to say, oh, wait a minute, that guy just cut me off, but maybe he's having a bad day. Let me just put the brakes on, take a few deep breaths. It's the part of us that says, yes, I fell on my face. Yes, I failed. And yes, I have the inner reserve and inner strength to pick myself up and do this again. It's the part that says, yes, I've been hurt, but I can open my heart. It's the part that can slow down the amygdala and slow down and relax that stress response, which happens in the, who said mammalian? Who talked about monkeys? Thank you. That's right. So that's really the mammalian brain. Why is it called that? Because mammals share it. And this is the part of us that feels emotion. This is the part of us that when we sense danger, so when I called out Lee and I said, hey, Lee, what happens when stress happens to you? He went. His amygdala said, not safe. And I don't mean to put you on the spot. I love Lee. He's a brother. Not safe. What if I say the wrong thing and I look like a fool? I could not be enough or not be loved. Fear, right? So where does fear go? It goes right to this center of the brain, which is right where the spinal cord begins. And that's really where the reptilian brain is. And this is just pure survival. This is pure survival. This is like lizard brain. This is alligator brain. Just want to sit on a rock back and forth, procreate, and eat some stuff. Kill some things and procreate. Sleep, repeat. Sound familiar? Hopefully not too close to home, but you know, that's funny. Sounds like my husband John. So that's it. So we got a front, a middle, and a back. We got a frontal cortex. We got a mammalian brain. We got a reptilian brain. Stress comes along and it totally fires up these guys, which releases over 50 chemicals associated with stress, all of which are toxic to the body. They're really good short term, but long term, these things eat you alive. They erode tissue, they break down cartilage, they break down tendons, they break down ligaments, they break down the memory receptors in your brain, they cause cardiovascular problems. The 4 main causes of death are all stress related: heart disease, diabetes, stroke. Cancer is controversial. And I'll tell you an interesting sidebar on that. Speaking of England, one of my best friends is an amazing British chiropractor who made a statement that cancer was mainly caused by stress, and therefore various stress reduction practices would be good in the prevention and complementary treatment thereof. The medical board got so angry at him they took his license for a while for saying this. So I can't officially say that, but my sense is it is really quite clear that stress affects the way cells divide and express immune function. It affects our immune function and it affects the way genes express, absolutely. It breaks down the telomeres, which hold the DNA template together. So it absolutely is part and parcel of most of the disease of degeneration. But I can't say for certain. There's more evidence to be done. But I think stress plays a major role in all the breakdowns. So we have cardiovascular, so heart attack, stroke, diabetes, and liver stuff.